This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It is Live Bet Sunday. Marc Malusis and Will Hill with you right here on VSiN, the third and final hour of the program. As the Indiana Pacers, Cleveland Cavaliers about to get underway, Game 1, Eastern Conference semifinals, Will. The Cavaliers are an 8.5-point favorite in Game 1, minus 370 on the money line. The total in the game is sitting at 229, juice to the under. And there's been some movement back and forth, give or take a half a point in the spread for the last 5-6 minutes. And why is that? Because Darius Garland, the star guard for the Cleveland Cavaliers, dealing with that toe injury, will not be given it a go tonight and is out for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, not only out tonight, and that's concerning because he's had a lot of time off here. They've had basically a week since they played, and he missed time before that. Jared Greenberg of TNT or NBA TV is reporting that the Cavs long-term here have some concern about when he will be available next. And it's starting, if you read between the lines, to seem possible that he's not going to play at all in this series. Now, again, we're not there yet, but if that is the case, boy, it doesn't quite get me to switching my pick and say, all right, now I'm going to take the Pacers. But what I would pick in 5 or 6, I guess if you're not going to have Garland at all, 6, maybe even 7. I'd still pick the Cavs, but that does make this a longer series in my mind. Now, Cleveland's got depth. They've got a lot of guys they can plug in here. But let's pretend that for whatever reason, Garland is not going to play in this series. And if he's missed all this time and it's a toe and it's serious, I guess it's something you have to consider. How does that change how you think about this series and this Game 1?
Yeah, I still think the Cavaliers win, but now it's we were talking about would you take it or lay it. I mean, I think you got to take Indiana tonight plus the 8.5. I mean, I really do. Garland's a loss when you're looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers. The concern here moving forward for the series, our producer mentioned it. The Cavaliers, right? I mean, the Indiana Pacers right now are plus 375 in the series. I'm not there yet. I still think the Cavaliers can get past Indiana, even if Darius Garland does not suit up at all in this series and say he's out, right? And they might not force the issue. If they're having their way, they might say, well, you know what? We'll live to fight another day. We need Darius Garland in the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA, whatever it might be here, Will, when you look at it. But I think Indiana now, with Garland out of it, I think this is a 6-game series. And I think Indiana is going to take one of the first 2 games of this series in Cleveland. And I think tonight could be a game in which it's relatively close in the second half. Listen, I'm taking a good offensive team in Indiana, a good offensive guard when you're looking at Halliburton, a Pacers team that's got experience. They've obviously got a coach that's seen it all in Indiana. I'm getting 8 on the road in Cleveland after the dynamic regular season. They dispatched to the Miami Heat, not much trouble there. Now they're without one of their star players in that backcourt. Yeah, I'm going to be all over Indiana plus the 8.
And I'm looking now. DraftKings still does have an 8.5, so you get 8.5 minus 110. So always shop around. That these half points matter, not all the time, but they matter enough to to shop around. So you can get 8.5 if you like the dog. I think the 8.5 is a pretty good bet. And if this is a long-term thing, and it's just too bad. It seems like every year now the NBA injuries are such a big part of it when it comes to playoff time. Does this change how you feel about a potential Celtics-Cavs series if there's no Garland for the foreseeable future?
Well, I would think, would it change my opinion? Yeah. I mean, if Garland's not available, I would lean in your direction, Will. I would take probably the Boston Celtics in that series against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that would greatly change my opinion of that. They would need Darius Garland, some healthy version of Darius Garland to take care of the Boston Celtics and to march on to the NBA Finals. It's a shame because you look at the Cavaliers, they've had an unbelievable regular season. Atkinson has done an unbelievable job as head coach, and it's a shame that they suffered this kind of an injury at this stage, given the fact of how good they were, how dynamic they were, and really how little people kind of believed in them. Kind of similar to the nature of, well, it's always going to be Boston in the end. And here's the Cavaliers now with Garland being out with his toe injury. And as you mentioned, the reports aren't exactly kind to the idea of him returning sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and this would actually push me over the edge to take the plus 450 at DraftKings. Cavaliers in 6, the correct series score. So they have to win in exactly 6. But you know what? If you're up 3-2 heading into Game 6, you can hedge and have a nice little profit there. I think this would nudge me from 5 to 6. I'm still not at the point where Indy's going to win. I'm still not at the point where it goes 7. But I don't think without Garland, I don't think they're going to sweep. And again, to me, it's still a toss up between 5 or 6. I like that plus 450 on Cavs and 6. It's a good number, I think.
3 games going on right now in Major League Baseball. The San Francisco Giants leading the Colorado Rockies 8-1. They're in the bottom half of the 7th inning. The Tigers and Angels, Detroit, all over Los Angeles, 11-0. They're in the middle of the 7th inning. The Nats and the Reds, they are tied at 1 in the top half of the 6th inning. 2 games still yet to get underway. Second game of a doubleheader gets going in about 10 minutes. The Mets in St. Louis taking on the Cardinals. McGill, Palante, your starters. Mets are minus 162 favorites. That has ticked up in terms of the Mets in the Mets' favor, Will. And you and I are both on New York to bounce back after losing the first game of this doubleheader 6-5 earlier this afternoon. And the Dodgers and the Braves down in Atlanta. Elder and May, your starters. The Dodgers are minus 136, the favorites. The total in the game sit at 9, juice to the over at minus 120.
Yeah, and my favorite bet in this Dodgers Braves game is Dodgers team total over 4.5. I just think you're on the road, so you're getting the full 9 at bats. You're getting all your complement of at bats. And Elder just does not have good numbers. He gets hit hard. The Dodgers are starting to come out of, you can't even call it a funk, but it's funny. They're like 17-10, and people are like, "What's wrong with the Dodgers? They're not as good as we think." So, man, they're 17-10. You look up, and they're they've strung together some wins here. So I think the Dodgers are going to score some runs. Team total over 4.5. I would lean over for the game too. May has good stuff, and the Braves have not swung the bats well the past couple of days, but the Braves still have a ton of talent in that lineup. And May has had an issue with walks. 5 starts this year. 4 of the 5 starts, he's had 3 walks. So that's a lot of walks here for May. And those, as we know, have a penchant, habit of coming back to bite pitchers. So 2 good lineups. I think Elder can be gotten to, and May's walked some guys. So should be a fun Sunday night game. Great sports Sunday night. Usually Sunday night things are kind of quieting down. You get 1 baseball game and maybe 1 NBA game. We still got 2 NBA games, an NHL game 7, Braves Dodgers. So a lot still on the menu here.
Yeah, we'll be following along. Cavs and Pacers about to get underway out in Cleveland, and the land is rocking out there, even without Darius Garland not suiting up tonight for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then we got a big Game 7, which we've hit upon a lot because why not? It's the NBA, and everyone digs the NBA, especially the postseason. And Silver and the association, they've had a good postseason run. The Rockets and Warriors tonight down in Houston. Golden State, a 2.5-point road dog. The total is sitting right around 206, Will. I'm leaning Rockets tonight. I like it. I don't love it because it's Curry and company. It's Golden State. It's the experience. Houston has rallied from 3-1 down in this series to force a Game 7. They're home. They had a better regular season. We know that. It's still Jimmy Butler. It's Steph Curry. It's a Golden State team that's got a ton of experience. Throw in Draymond Green. Obviously, it's Steve Kerr. The Rockets, though, seem to have found something the last 2 games.
They have, and I hate the idea that I'm betting against Curry and Butler. It just, man, if I lose, you're going to feel like an idiot. I know that. I understand that. And it's not going to be a fun 2.5 hours rooting against Curry. I just think the Rockets have some advantages that the Warriors cannot scheme them way out of. They're smaller. They're older. The Rockets are going to own the glass. The Rockets are home. And now the every other day nature of this series where you have an older team and and it looks like the Warriors are spent. And I understand all of these have to come with the caveat of yes, but Curry can sit here and drop 48 points and make everything else irrelevant. I understand that. And throw in Butler and what he can do in big games. I just think the Rockets own the glass, and I think they win. And boy, I wouldn't be shocked if it's not close. Just, man, that was a concerning performance the other night. And it's only 1 game. They punted on Game 5, but Game 6, not like shocked that they lost, but the fact that they were that dominated, that thoroughly outplayed, has to give you some pause, has to give you some concern here from a Golden State perspective headed to a Game 7.
And we got a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Winnipeg Jets and St. Louis Blues up in Winnipeg. The Jets are a minus 172 home favorite. The Blues are plus 142. The goal total in this one, Will, is sitting at 5.5. I'm going to take the Blues. I am. I don't love the goaltending when you're looking at Winnipeg. It's been remarkably inconsistent. Very, very hit and miss in this series. I give St. Louis a ton of credit for getting the series to a 7th game. I know Winnipeg is home. We saw the home ice advantage play out last night for Dallas. and the Stars, where they rallied from 2-0 down in the third period to knock off the heavily favored Colorado Avalanche. I'm going to take the St. Louis Blues as a road dog tonight in Winnipeg.
Under is juice, but under 1.5 for the first period, under for the game. That, by the way, that was a rough beat, and I saw it coming. I had the under the game 7 in the hockey last night, Dallas, Colorado, where they stuck one in late, as it tends to happen here in these games. Would you look at an under, or is it just too much juice to lay here? Because
I would take the under.
NBA, NHL, go ahead.
Yeah, I would take the under. I'd take the under. They tighten things up. I would take the under tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, Profit X is offering the best on. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go.
No, I was just going to get to the read. The Profit X is offering the best odds all baseball season long. Profit X is peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40-plus states. The first of its kind in the U.S. You'll be able to make your sports picks against other groups of fans rather than against sports books. Exchanges guarantee you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. You can even request your own odds. Download the Profit X today. And use code VSIN, VSIN, and earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. I'm sorry, Will. Finish your thought. I apologize.
Just bad beat for the over in the NHL game last night. And the NBA game went over. So usually these game 7s go under, but 2-0 so far for the overs for these NBA game 7s and NHL game 7s. Unusual.
Yeah. He is Will Hill. I'm Marc Malusis. We got NBA playoffs going on. We got baseball going on. Baseball to look ahead to tonight. Stanley Cup playoff action to look ahead to tonight. There's a lot of things going on. It's Live Bet Sunday. Will Hill, Marc Malusis, right here on VSiN.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Rolling right along, hour number 3. Marc Malusis and Will Hill with you. It is Live Bet Sunday right here on VSiN. 6:45 mark of the opening quarter. The Indiana Pacers leading the Cleveland Cavaliers 16-12. The Pacers came into this one as an 8.5-point underdog. No Darius Garland for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's out with a toe injury, and as Will was mentioning, so the reports are that this is a significant or pretty significant toe injury that could keep Darius Garland out a while.
Yeah, and the report was, quote, significant concern, which, you read between the lines. Doesn't sound like he's going to be back for game 2 or even game 3 again. We're speculating a little bit, but that is definitely a concern here for Cavs. Maybe not in this series, but certainly going forward. And good start for Indy. Good start for Indiana here. We're down to a 5.5 point live line total all the way up to 238.5. These teams are flying 19-14. Not even halfway through the first quarter, we got 33 points. So makes sense. Both these teams are right up there in terms of points scored per game. Both right up there in terms of pace. Neither of these teams are overly big. So I think you could see a very fun series in terms of pace here, in terms of style of play. So good start here for the Pacers. Do you have eyes on this game? Do you have anything takeaways here from the first 5-6 minutes?
I think Indiana's playing the game at the pace that they want to play at, which we talked about. I was able to watch a little bit of it. I'm not locked in like you're saying, but watching a little bit of it. I think Indiana's getting up and down the court. They're leading this game early, 19-14. Yeah. You mentioned it. When you're looking at the live line, Indiana is down to anywhere from a 5.5 to getting either 5.5 or 4.5 for the game. So it's the start that you want for Indiana in this series on the road. Heavy dog. Cavaliers, obviously brilliance in the regular season, dispatched the Miami Heat in the opening round very, very easily without one of their star players in Garland. What does Indiana want to do in that kind of atmosphere? Try and take the crowd out of it as best as they can early, and they have done that. But as we've seen here, it all comes down to the third and fourth quarter in a lot of these games, especially when they're home. We'll see when the Cavaliers get their footing in this game, because they've been too good to think that they're just one Darius Garland injury from falling apart. The question is that when they go on that run, where is the game? Is Indiana significantly in front? But this is the start you want, especially if you took the Pacers plus the 8.5 to start.
Sure. And you learn this more and more doing these live shows, following these live NBA markets. If you're thinking about, should I lay the 8.5? Well, now you got a chance to lay 5.5. Obviously, you got some points to make up, but the swings in these NBA games are so dramatic that usually, no matter what side you like, usually you get an opportunity in game to get a better number. Now, it's not always easy to time it properly. And if you like the Pacers to start, well, you missed your number, at least for now. But live betting is certainly a valuable way to attack these markets in the NBA.
Let's look ahead to two series that get going tomorrow night, and then we'll swing back to the Game 7 tonight in Houston and Golden State, which we've hit upon a lot over the last 2+ hours right here on VSiN. Knicks and Celtics, Game 1 tomorrow night in Beantown, 7 o'clock tip. The Knicks are getting 9 on the road. Total in the game is sitting at 213, Will. The Knicks lost all 4 meetings against Boston in the regular season by a combined 65 points. The last of those 4 losses was the closest one. They lost in overtime. Jaylen Brown only played 22 minutes dealing with that knee injury for the Boston Celtics that night at Madison Square Garden. You know, we chatted with Tommy D a little bit earlier on. He thinks the Knicks can make the Celtics sweat, can force it to a 7th game, doesn't think the Knicks can win the series, but wouldn't be all that surprised. What about Game 1 tomorrow night? Are you bullish on either the Knicks or the Celtics? If you had to lay it or take it, where would you go, Will?
I didn't play anything for Game 1. The 9 does seem like a lot, sort of like in Cleveland here. It's funny because Tommy is sharp when it comes to stuff. He picked it Celtics in 7. I saw one of the pregame shows where they showed 11 people's prediction for the series. All 11 picked the Celtics, which didn't surprise me. What surprised me? A majority of them picked it Celtics in 6 or 7. Now, some of that is, you know, when you're in the media, you don't want to pick a sweep or in 5 because it feels disrespectful. And sometimes it becomes bulletin board material. These people have relationships with the teams, things like that. I'm looking for a shorter series. I never trust the Celtics to really sweep anyone. They seem to have a habit of playing with their food. Orlando gets a game from them. You know, the Heat last year get a game from them. The Cavs did too. They did sweep Indy, even though Indy could have won a lot of those games. To me, this is Celtics in 5. I see it where they win the first 2 in Boston. They get the split on the road, and then they wrap it up in 5. Now, Boston has not been a great home team in this whole Tatum Brown run, but to me, they just have so many guys that can guard Brunson. They defensively, they've got so many guys offensively that can attack Brunson, attack Towns, bring him away from the basket. There's just a lot of answers for Boston, and Brunson's already beat up. I mean, he's already dealing with injuries, and as the series goes on here, you know, who knows what his health is going to be like. And I just feel like, and you're a Knicks guy, so you probably know better than me, feels like this Knicks team there's a toughness, a grittiness that they lost with the Minnesota trade that they haven't regained. And I just think this is a tough matchup for them. So I like Celtics in 5.
Yeah, I would take the Celtics in 6 games. I'd love to see it get to a 7th game. I don't think we're going to get there. You know, I just think Boston's just a better version. And Will, I think you nailed it. I think there was a toughness, a grittiness to the Knicks a year ago. Defense travels. They're not nearly the defensive team that they were last year with the trades that they made. Now, are they a better offensive team? Yeah, they are. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, his ability to go out there and spread the floor. I just have not seen this team evolve offensively. You saw them get into bad habits against the Detroit Pistons where the ball became stagnant and they didn't move it. And they're not getting Bridges and Brunson, Bridges and OG Anunoby involved. And it became too much of the Jalen Brunson show. That's not going to work. And I know the regular season, the NBA playoffs, there's a differentiation, and that is true. And Tom Thibodeau has not laid everything out on the table in those 4 matchups in the regular season about what he potentially could draw up in these NBA playoffs, or especially in this matchup against the Boston Celtics. And this is really it. This is why those trades were made, giving up 5 first-round picks to go get Mikal Bridges, the deal for Karl Anthony Towns from Minnesota, because it was for this series specifically, going up against the defending NBA champs, the Boston Celtics. However, I just think Boston's too strong. They've, you know, even with the concerns about Holiday and his hamstring, I think the Celtics are too strong. So I'm going to go positive and think it can get to 6. Would I be surprised if this is a 5-game series? I would not. I think Game 1 tomorrow night is going to tell a tale about just where this series is going, and how competitive the Knicks are or how competitive they are not.
Would you take or lay the 9 tomorrow?
The line is so tantalizing to take the Knicks plus the 9, isn't it, Will? Like you're the 3 seed in the East. They're begging. Like, I feel like it's a line where it's begging you to take the Knicks. You know, the Celtics didn't look great against Orlando. You know, they looked good enough, but it wasn't like Cleveland, Miami, right? And Orlando had a penchant for playing them well during the course of the regular season. I think the line is begging you to take the Knicks, especially Brunson, Towns, Anunoby, Bridges, Josh Hart. Go out there and take the 9. That's where I'm probably leaning. It might be a little bit of fool's gold. I might be having my Knick underwear on a little bit, but I would probably lean to taking the Knicks plus the 9.
9 does seem heavy. I have not bet it yet. But 9 does seem heavy. Even though they won it last year, I still have trust issues with the Celtics because that Heat series 2 years ago, I don't know. The Celtics just have had some weird series where you expect them to cruise, you expect them to roll, and they stub their toe enough to give you doubt. But that being said, like I said, the 9 does seem like a lot. If it ever got to 10, I don't know. Is there a number where you're just like, all right, if it gets to 10, 10 and a half, whatever, is there a number where you're
if it ever got to 10 or 10? Yeah, if it ever got to 10 and 10 and a half, I just think out of that disrespect, I think you got to take the Knicks. 10 and a half points, a 3 seed in the East. The experience. This is their 3rd straight trip to the Eastern Conference semifinals. It's Brunson, it's Towns. It's not like the Knicks are untalented, or it's a surprise that they had a good regular season. They just didn't show that they could compete with Boston. Right. I get the respect. I mean, that reaches a point. If this ever reached 10 or 10 and a half, you'd have to take the Knicks.
I wonder, it happened last year in the Philly series in the first round. I wonder if the Knicks will invade that Boston building enough to negate the home court advantage a little bit. Now you can say Boston will do the same at MSG. Maybe that's the case. Do you have any feel for that?
Wait, run that by me again, Will. I'm sorry.
That Knicks fans invade Boston in terms of equalizing the home court advantage, neutralizing a little bit, buying road tickets.
I don't think so. Okay. I mean, Detroit negated that. It was a huge home. Detroit did an unbelievable job. They really did in their series. No, I think Boston's proud. I think they're going to show up. I think they're going to pack the house. I think Knicks fans travel. I think there's always New Yorkers all over the place. But I don't think there's going to be a sense where the Garden turns into New York North. I really don't. I think it's going to be more Boston Celtics fans than will be Knicks fans tomorrow night. Clearly.
Yeah, because that was a factor last year in that Philly series. There were a lot of Knicks fans that bought tickets to that Philly series. It's something that crossed my mind with the close proximity.
Smarter bets start here, and last all year long with VSiN Pro. For a limited time, we're slashing the price of our annual subscription, normally $240, now just $199. And when you sign up today, we'll throw in 2 extra months for free. That's 14 months of VSiN Pro. Access for less than 50 cents a day when you use promo code PRO. Get 14 months of access to our daily bets daily best bets from VSiN hosts and guests, exclusive splits from DraftKings and Circa. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe now and use promo code PRO.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Summer, go all in at Circa Las Vegas with the ultimate getaway package. Just $400 all in. You'll get a 2-night stay at Circa, $100 dining credit, a $100 beverage credit, and in your own day bed, at Stadium Swim, where the party never stops, all for just $400. Resort fees and taxes included. This limited time offer is valid for stays between May 26th and September 4th. Don't miss out. Lock in your all-in summer package now at Circa Las Vegas. This is Live Bet Sunday. Marc Malusis and Will Hill with you. And how about Scottie Scheffler, Will? Tied a PGA Tour 72-hole scoring record, finishing at 253, running away with an 8-shot lead at the CJ Cup Championship, or CJ Cup Byron Nelson. Remarkable if you're looking ahead to the PGA Championship, which gets going in about a week and a half. He is 5-1 right now. I think he's the top of the betting markets at 5-1 to win the PGA. But what about what Scheffler was able to do this weekend? Utterly brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, to be 31 under, it's just not even, it's not even professional golf to have a course situation where you're lapping the field by that much. I know he was short at like 3-1. And, pre-tournament, I think in that range, and some people were making a case, that 3-1 is even too long, and it could be a little bit off on the number. It was in that neighborhood, though, where it was short. And some people were saying he should have a handicap, a spread over the rest of the field. That's how dominant he was. So Scheffler, for the most part, has not been the dominant self this year. The putter hasn't been great. Never made the run at the Masters, although he did get the decent finish there. But will be interesting to see. I don't have much of an interest in him at 5-1. At the PGA, but I understand there's going to be a lot of sentiment for Rory now that he's gotten over the hump. So like we were talking about before, great time of the year. Just all the NBA, all the NHL, great golf tournaments coming up. So a lot of fun. By the way, Indiana all over Cleveland, 36-25, 61 points combined here in the first quarter. So should be a fun series. If this first quarter is any indication of what this series is going to be like, going to be a lot of offense here between the Cavs and the Pacers, Mark.
Yeah, the Pacers have turned over the Cavaliers a little bit here. No Darius Garland, obviously big headline for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They came into this one as an 8.5-point favorite. Right now they're -2.5, and they're only -128 to win the game on the money line. They're down 11 after the opening quarter, but as you mentioned, there's been crazy twists and turns in some of these NBA games. So early success doesn't necessarily mean equate to fourth quarter success or this game ending and going the Cavaliers' way. But if you took Indiana plus the 8.5, to begin this game, and we were both on the kind of, what are you going to lay it or take it? You and I both lean to more a case to take it than lay it with the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially if after the Garland news came out. Well, you're off to a good start because you're getting 8.5, and the Indiana Pacers are up 11 after the opening quarter.
Is this an opportunity in your mind to jump in on the Cavs and the money line -130?
Not if I took in no, I would not. Would you?
Think about it. I mean, 11's not that many. You figure Indiana's going to cool off a little bit. Like you said, we see runs in this league all the time where it's not like they're down 20 or something. They're down 11. So I'd be tempted to it. I don't think I'd ultimately pull the trigger, but might be the right play. I do kind of sense Cleveland comes back and probably still wins the game right now. If you had to pick who wins the game, you'd pick Indiana.
I would probably take Cleveland to win the game. I'd probably take Cleveland to win the game.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at -130, and if you want to dig down statistically speaking a little bit, I mean, the Pacers have hit 6 of their 9 3-pointers, right? So they're shooting right around 66%. They're shooting 66% from the floor. They're 14 of 21. What are the Cavaliers shooting from behind the arc? They're 3 of 12. They're 25%, and they're 11 of 24 from the field. So are those numbers going to maintain moving forward? They're not. I mean, the Indiana Pacers are going to cool off, and you would expect the Cleveland Cavaliers to get better. It's only an 11-point spread. You got to look at it. The Cavaliers were an 8.5-point favorite coming into it, even without Darius Garland. I think the time would be now, if you're live betting this, to look at it and take the Cavaliers plus the -138.
Yep, and that stat you cited is the key one, and it's very important when you're live betting. Just the simple stat of what's this team shooting from 3? What's the other team shooting from 3? One team shooting 67% from 3, and the Cavs are shooting 25% from 3. Cavs are a very good shooting team, an outstanding shooting team. That's likely going to correct. So that's a good stat to point out. That's why I would lean towards Cleveland taking them on the money line. Is Rick Carlisle and Jim Carrey, man, the resemblance gets smaller and smaller every day. You can barely tell them apart as they're interviewing.
Oh, that's Carlisle a good one.
Quarters. Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that. You know what? I didn't ever put 2 and 2 together with that. That's a good one, Will. I like that. Now I'm never going to unsee that when I look at Jim Carrey and Rick Carlisle. Now I'm going to see that forever.
Yes, the similarities as Cleveland has a 3 rim and out. Similar, but they get it put back to cut it to 9. Very similar appearances.
Yeah, that is a good one. I like that. One NBA series that we didn't touch upon that gets going tomorrow night, Will, quickly here. The Denver Nuggets, fresh off their Game 7 dismantling of the Los Angeles Clippers last night. They're on the road in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. The Thunder are healthy, 9.5-point favorites. The total in the game is sitting at 225. -110 either way, the over and the under. Anything with Denver and Oklahoma City, game 1 tomorrow night out in Oak City.
Can never be dismissive of Jokic. It's like discounting or being dismissive of Mahomes. Jokic is that good. He's the best player in the league. He's the best player in the league by a pretty wide margin. That being said, what does Denver have left in the tank? I know game 7 was a bit of a laugher, so they were able to rest some guys or take the foot off the gas a little bit, but that was still a 7-game intense series where they had to play a lot of minutes. Meanwhile, OKC, when is the last time they played? They haven't played since last Saturday. They're looking at 10, 11 days off. That was an easy series against Memphis. So Memphis is better. They're home. They're deeper. They're fresher. Can Jokic drag them to a win? Probably 2. I think, again, I think similar to what we talked about with Indy Cleveland, where Maybe they get a game. Maybe they get a two. Maybe they get two. I wouldn't be shocked if OKC swept them. I know that's a little bit dismissive of Denver, but I just don't know. Outside of Jokic just carrying this team, which is possible, I don't know. Do you see a path for Denver to really put a scare into this OKC team?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I think, when they come out and they say, well, we got the desired result from the coaching change with the opening round victory over the Los Angeles Clippers, I think Oklahoma City Will is just a different beast. Like, I think, and I have a healthy respect for Nikola Jokic. I think everybody does, and what he is as a basketball player and how he makes everyone around him better. I think this is an Oklahoma City team that people want to kind of give everybody else credit, but give them credit. They're really good. They're really dynamic. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. SGA is remarkable. Good defensive team. They played the long game here. They rebuilt it, had a ton of first-round draft choices, have got the right connection of players. Like, it's Oklahoma City and everybody else for me when I'm looking at the Western Conference, and I don't see this being a long series against the Denver Nuggets.
So it sounds like you think a sweep is possibly on the table.
I think a sweep is on the table. Yeah. That's to me not out of the realm of possibility. No, I think a sweep is high. You don't think right now, if I'd ask you, how long does this series go? 5 games?
5. Yeah, I was gonna say 5. Just because it's Jokic, I don't want to pick a sweep against Jokic. He probably finds a way to win 1. If you had to pick between 4, let's just say you can't pick a 5-game series. If you had to pick between this goes 4, this goes 6, which one do you think is more likely?
4.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you.
I think it's 4. I think it. Yeah. I don't think we get a 6-game series. Like, if you're asking me which one either way, I think it's more than likely that we see Denver get swept. I think their series was the Clippers series. I don't know how much more they have left. And you're looking at an Oklahoma City team that makes basketball look very, very easy. And I don't think this is a great version of the Denver Nuggets.
It'd be fun if you had the best player in Jokic being able to push this Thunder team and it was a competitive series and we're talking about like a 7th game. It'd be a lot of fun. I would enjoy that. It seems far-fetched, doesn't it?
Yeah, updating the baseball right now. The Washington Nationals leading the Cincinnati Reds 4-1. They're going to the bottom half of the 7th inning. We see if the Reds can rally. Right now, if you believe they can, you can get plus 680. The Cardinals have jumped out on top of the New York Mets. They're leading 2-0. They're in the bottom half of the 2nd inning. One game that is yet to get underway. The Los Angeles Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves get going in about a half hour from now, right around 7:10, 7:11 Eastern time. May and Elder, your starters. The Dodgers are minus 136 favorites in that one, Will.
I like Dodgers team total over 4.5. I think they'll be able to score 5 runs here. They're on the road, so they get the full complement. 9 at bats. Elder is not a very good pitcher. Dodgers starting to heat up a little bit. So Dodgers team total over 4.5 is a play for me. Should be a fun game.
Right now, Indiana leading the Cavaliers 45-33 at the 8:40 mark of the 2nd quarter. So if you took Indiana plus the 8.5, you're sitting pretty right now on this Sunday. This is Live Bet Sunday. He's Will Hill. I'm Marc Malusis. We'll come back for a final segment right here on VSiN.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Time for the GBank best bets. Get the GBank Visa signature card today. Most credit cards treat sports books and gaming transactions as cash advantage. That cash advances. That's even when you put your own money on the card. GBank treats gaming transactions as purchases. So you're saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees on gaming transactions right there. Also with GBank, you're earning 1% cash back rewards on all eligible sportsbook and gaming transactions and 2% cash back rewards on all eligible purchases. Apply now at vsin.com/GBank. That's vsin.com/GBank. All right, Will, what are your GBank best bets?
Mentioned it last segment. Dodgers team total over 4.5. A game that's about to get going here. Elder going for the Braves just doesn't have good numbers. Doesn't throw hard. Doesn't get swings and misses. Doesn't get chases. Expected batting average in the 270s against the Dodger team that is obviously really good and starting to get their sea legs under them after, I don't even want to say a slow start, but a so-so start based on their expectations. I think the Dodgers will be able to score some runs here. Plus, they're the road team. They get their 9 at-bats. So Dodgers team total over. And I will go Rockets. I'll lay the 2.5, even though I did bet the money line. I'll lay the 2.5. I just think they're younger, more physical. I think the Warriors playing every other day now could get worn down. And there's just such a monster advantage for Houston on the glass that I don't know Golden State has a solution for. So Rockets on the money line, Rockets minus 2.5 are the plays for me. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rockets. I like it. We've talked about it throughout the course of Live Bet Sunday right here on VSiN, Will. I'm going to take the Rockets laying the 2.5 as well. I think Golden State had an opportunity in Game 5, had an opportunity at home in Game 6. Houston obviously has gained momentum, figured some things out as this series has gone along. Going into it with eyes wide open, know that Steph Curry can all of a sudden be utterly ridiculous and spectacular and lead Golden State to a victory. But I'm going to take the Rockets. I think they're a better basketball team. They're a 2.5-point favorite. They're home. They got off the doormat down 3-1 to get this back to a 7th game. I think home court does play. Give me the Rockets laying the 2.5. And I'll talk a little bit about the Stanley Cup playoff game tonight. I'm going to take the St. Louis Blues on the road in Winnipeg. I think St. Louis has the experience to deal with it. In key injuries when you're looking at Winnipeg as well. Don't trust the goaltending with the Jets. You're getting plus 142. So I'm going to go Blues plus 142 to win a Game 7 on the road in Winnipeg. And I'm going to take the Rockets in a Game 7 in the association at home against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Those would be my 2 G-Bank best bets.
You're more of a hockey guy than me. Who's going to be in the Cup final?
That's a good one. I'm a big fan of Washington. I think Washington's going to get through the East. I know a lot of people, and they were the President's Trophy winner. A lot of people like to look against that when you're going through it, moving forward. I think we're going to get Capitals and Leafs in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm going to take Ovechkin and the Capitals to get through and get to the Stanley Cup Finals. Out West, I'm rooting for McDavid and the Oilers. I'd love to see them get back there. I don't think they get there. I think it's the winner of the game that we saw last night. I think it's going to be the Dallas Stars that are going to get through. I think we're going to get Capitals, Dallas in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that I've heard a lot of people say what you just said, that the winner of last night's Stars Avalanche game is going to go a long way, if not the whole way.
Yeah, I just think, I give Dallas credit. They were without one of their top defensemen. Colorado was a more talented team. They had defensive breakdowns, but goaltending is a big time key. And I love the way Dallas is playing right now as a team, dealing with some of those injuries. And I think that was a big statement victory, rallying from 2-0 down in the third period to rallying from 2-0 down in the third period to win Game 7 at home and win that one 4-2. We've got some dealings going on in the NBA right now. How about the fact that the Indiana Pacers, the Indiana Pacers right now are leading the Cleveland Cavaliers 52-45. The score bug on TNT is going all kinds of crazy right now. But what was once an 11-point lead is now down to 7. Pacers right now are plus 122 to win the game. The Cavaliers are minus 156, but the Cavs have cut into that lead here in the second quarter.
I was just going to say, how did the Cavs tie it so quickly? And I was going to go look at the live lines. That's very dangerous. Obviously, an innocent mistake. You would think, I'm very certain it was an innocent mistake. But, man, we're betting on these games. These leagues are in bed with these betting companies. You got to give the right score. Somebody sees that, say, "Oh, tie game," and I can get the Cavs minus 2.5. I'm going to run to bet the Cavs. Now, most books do give the score on their app, but that's one that gets your hopes up here. If you just walked into the room,
well, I just looked up and I was like, I was just going to ask you, I'm like, what just happened here? Like, all of a sudden, it was a 10-point game. I looked up and the game was tied. I'm like, they came all the way back from 10. I was giving my G-Bank best bets. That's it?
Yeah, I had the same thought process. And the Cavs were making shots, too. The Cavs did cut into the lead, which made me think it was possible. But they did quickly fix it. So we're looking at, 52-45 now. Cavs still laying 2.5, so that's interesting. 7-point. They trail by 7, but they're still 2.5-point favorites. Live total 234.5. Like I said, this is going to be an up and down fun series. A lot of scoring, a lot of pace. Both these teams love to run here.
4 games right now going on in Major League Baseball. The Detroit Tigers all over the Angels 13-1. They're going in the bottom half of the 9th inning. The Nats leading the Reds in Cincinnati 4-1. Top half of the 8th inning, threatening to score more with the bases loaded is Washington, already up by 3. The Mets have cut into that 2-0 Cardinals lead. It's now 2-1, top of the 3rd. They're threatening to score more. They've met on 1st and 2nd with 1 out. And the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves get going about half hour, about 20 minutes from now, down in Atlanta. Elder and May, your starters. The Dodgers are minus 136 favorites. And about the 4:22 mark of the second quarter, Game 1, Eastern Conference semifinal, Indiana taking on the Cavaliers. The Pacers came into this one as an 8.5-point dog. They're right now up 7 at the 4:22 mark of the second quarter. No Darius Garland tonight, Will, for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I know we've talked about this game a lot. And you and I both agree the Rockets are going to win. Do you have any sense? Do you think this is anybody's game with 5 minutes to go, or do you think this is one where the Rockets run them out and win pretty comfortably?
If it's anyone's game with 5 minutes to go, I think that favors the Golden State believer.
I agree.
Like I think, so I like the Rockets. I think they win comfortably. Like I like the Rockets. You like the Rockets. I'd be very, very nervous about my Rockets play if we're getting to the 5-minute mark, the 4-minute mark tonight down in Houston, and this is a 1-possession game either way, that it's going to be Curry, it's going to be Butler, it's going to be the experience of Golden State finding a way to win the game. I would think, feeling comfortable as any better would, feeling comfortable as a Houston supporter tonight, I think that I'd like this to be a 3 or 4 possession game at the 5-minute mark. If it's a 1-possession game, I'd feel comfortable with Golden State at that point.
Do you think the winner is live against Houston? And boy, if it is Minnesota-Houston, that is a strange second-round series, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't. It is a strange second-round series. That's one that's not going to light up America. Houston and Minnesota in the second round of the Western Conference. I mean, it will not, like, when you think about it. But are they live? I think Houston would be more live against Minnesota than Golden State would. I'd be a little bit nervous about the Warriors going up against the size of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And, with Randall, DiVincenzo, Rudy Gobert, obviously Anthony Edwards, I'd be a little concerned, or very concerned, about Golden State. I'd give Houston a better chance in that series than I would the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, and if it's Minnesota-Houston like we expect, and who knows, they still have Curry and Butler on Golden State, would be mildly surprised, wouldn't be shocked at all if Golden State won this series. We've seen this in one tonight. We've seen them do it a million times. But if it is Houston-Minnesota, man, that's going to be ugly, nasty, physical, because Minnesota likes to get after you. They got a lot of size. They've got some feisty guys on their team, and so does Houston. So that would be one where I would look as soon as that, if that is the matchup, game 1, I'd be curious to see what that total is, because I'd be looking to play under. That one could be a rock fight, very physical series, I'd expect.
Coming up next on VSiN, Live Bet Sunday rolls on with Scott Seidenberg taking you for the next 4 hours over at Circa, then the nightcap. And it caps off with Joe Sorallo with Cashing Out. Will, this has been an absolute blast, my man. Thanks for allowing me to sit in here on this Sunday. I enjoyed it.
It's been fun. Yeah, it flew by. Hopefully we'll get a chance here to do it again soon, but it's been great.
Yeah. When is the opportunity, you think, to jump in on the Cavaliers? Did you jump in on them at minus 136?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad number, as they've just scored here, and I think it's 58-54 here, so that number might be by the wayside. We might have missed an opportunity.
Yeah, we might have missed an opportunity. Will, it's been a blast, man. Good luck with all your plays, all right?
You too, man. Great time. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks for everyone for listening. Make sure to check out Live Bet Sunday. It continues here. Seidenberg comes your way next. For Will Hill, I'm Marc Malusis. This has been Live Bet Sunday right here on VSiN. Good luck with all your plays. Chat soon.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.